Mets fans everywhere, we are back. Let's go. Your main man, the number one chief rock Uncle Freezy, is in the building, and national recording artist Jay, the chosen one, is in the building. Jay, the last time we spoke, bro, we were pretty optimistic about where this team could go based on this lineup. And as we sit here, Saturday, May 2nd, we've been hustling backwards a little bit. I want to get your thoughts. So chat, y'all bear with me because it's been a while. So Jay's gonna give you his thoughts on where the team is, where they are right now in this moment, where they need to be by the end of the season, and what needs to happen in between those 2 points that he made. And I'm going to talk to you about how the Mets get off to a slow start at the beginning of games, and it puts the manager behind the eight ball and the lineup behind the eight ball before we can even start the game. So we have those two things going on. That's a precursor of what's going to happen. My main man, Jay, take it away, bro.
Yes, sir. Hello, Mets fan. Hello, Mets land. Welcome to the New York Mets Lounge. Well, last time we were here, we were hyped. We were talking about what's going to happen and how we were going to do it. And the lineup is looking a little stronger, and the moves that we made. Well, that was fun, and I had a great time talking about that.
Right.
And I think about it. I dream about it, and then I have nightmares about that first talk too sometimes, because I'll wake up going, "Wait, are they all healthy? Wait, did they win?" On off days, I get excited at this point because I'm like, all right, they're not going to lose today. So I'm gonna keep it funky. Look, there's a saying that says you can't lose out on going to the World Series in April, but you sure put yourself behind an eight ball by having a bad start.
Right.
Now that's not a saying at all. I just made that up, but it's something like what the saying is. Right, it's a new saying. Thank you. Brand new. Everybody use it. I'm gonna say this. Injuries don't help. Cold bats don't help. We really thought when we started out, as Uncle Freeze and I were talking in the beginning of our shows, we said, okay, we picked up Bichette, we picked up Polanco, we picked up Lewis Robert Jr., we picked up Peralta, and we got excited about what could be. I went to opening day. A bench comes up. Another thing. We're excited. I went to opening day. I was there to see him hit that home run. I won't lie to you. My first initial thought was, of course, I was flipping out. But it made me think, oh no, I hope this young man doesn't think he's a home run hitter. Because, he's definitely, to me, a singles, doubles, stealing bases, leadoff type of hitter. As we went on, as you know, we lose Soto. First few games we win, and then the pitching starts becoming iffy. Right. With cold bats and iffy pitching, all you could get is losses. If you have cold, like one of my pet peeves is having a pitcher like the one that's going to start tonight that you should all be very, very, very excited about. Our ace. This guy is like made out of a test tube. All right. We're talking about DeGrom, Dwight Gooden, Nolan McClain. All right. That's what we're talking about. Matter of fact, he has more strikeouts and other accolades than DeGrom did. Not Dwight. He's in Dwight's class. So he might throw 8 stellar innings and we can't scratch a run. And he's got a shutout. And that reminds me so much of Pedro Martinez, of Johan Santana, of Jacob deGrom. How many Jacob deGrom games could he have won if the bats were on fire? And that's where we are right now. That's exactly where we are right now. And we're in the streak right now where I was at a game last week versus Colorado. We take the lead. And listen, Mets fans, we show up. We're like Knicks fans. We show up. We show up to a lot of places, but I was in City Field. Great seats, by the way. And the place was rocking. And we were winning. Peralta pitched a great game. And what we started off the year trying to achieve with great defense, we failed that game. That's one of our issues right now. Another issue is having way too many shortstops and third basemen and not knowing where to put them. People playing out of position. Mendoza having a new lineup every single day. Where's the continuity in that? You got to figure that out. And I think that's what he's trying to do, figure it out. But you don't figure that out in May 2nd. You figure that out February 2nd. February 15th. Crap, I don't care. April 2nd. Just, you don't figure it out this late in the game. And things are going to have to be done. Where we are at are not a representative of who we are. And I am 1,000% sure of that. The way what our record is and the way we're playing is not a representative of the team that's out there. All right? I'm going to tell you again, we just popped into May. We have a long season ahead of us. Right? We won a game. After winning a game, we're throwing our ace. There's something about being a Mets fan and being down and out and having faith. And I know a lot of Mets fans right now are ticked off, at this person or that person. I have some people that I'm not happy with right now. But one of them definitely is not Cohen. Cohen said, go get everybody you possibly could get. Unfortunately, the only thing that Stearns possibly could get was Polanco and Bichette. But Bichette is starting to come around, starting to get those hits, starting to get the hits that we need to get. Polanco, unfortunately, is hurt. And Lewis Robert has to have I'm starting to call him Mitch Robert. He needs a day off every 4th day. Who knew? And Senga is, I'm gonna tell you what I think his issue is. He starts off strong, but he's a Japanese pitcher who's used to having a 6-man rotation. And this year, for the first time, we implemented a no to that and made it a regular 5-man. And I don't believe he could handle that. He already has been injured 2 years prior. I don't think physically he could handle that. And now with Japanese pitchers, they have a lot of humility, I think, is between the ears also now. So now you have Senga problems. Right off the bat, you had Peterson problems. And people were wondering why did Peterson pitch second? Well, as we said in previous shows, when you start the season, you want to start, right, left, right. It wasn't because he was the second best. He should be our 5th pitcher, or maybe not even here anymore. But that is the reason he did that. But I will say that there are things to be excited about. You know what I mean? We do have to make moves. We do have a lot of things in the future on the way up. AJ Ewing went up to AAA, and he's smoking hot. Smoking hot. I promise you this, he's going to be something to behold. Vientos is starting to look like a first baseman. Now, if he could hit like one, maybe that would work out. But I really, truly believe that moves are about to be made. They usually come with the manager first. But, I can't say for a lack of trying they didn't get. Look, Tucker only hit his 2nd home run the other day. All right. So it's not about Tucker, right? Bellinger, however, is hitting really well. But he was on the Yankees last year, and he probably wanted to go back. Diaz is hurt.
Yeah. And out for the season, probably.
And out for the season again. We dodged a bullet, guys. Think about it like that. We dodged a bullet. And if you go back and look the last 5 years, Williams has been in the top 5, if not the top 3 or 2 in saves and ERA and strikeouts as a saver, as a closer, saver. But I love Tobias Myers a throw-in. He's not a throw-in. He was a second pitcher. We got some things to look forward to. Robert looked like he was on track. Let's hope he stays that way. I will say this, though. In order to change a team, something has to change in general. Whether it's the attitude of the team, whether it's somebody in the clubhouse, whether it's the lackluster play of some of the people spilling over to other people. Right now, I couldn't tell you because it looks really, really bad. But you win last night, you win today, and keep putting those scrappy wins together, and eventually you'll get back to opening day where you start mashing on people again. So don't be surprised when they start, making moves, calling people up, trading people, especially that middle young core. That Mauricio Vientos Beatty core. Because right now, really honest to God, who's taking, what are we going to get good for Peterson, Minaya, and Simeon as a trade. I 100% agree with you. I said that from the first day. I 100% agree with you. But Freezy made a great point. It is a thing, especially playing the team that we were playing. They had a lot of lefties on that team, so that's why they chose to go that route. But they're no longer in that route. You understand that, like, it is swiveled and changed a little bit. So Peralta staying solid. Myers is playing really great. Before I pass it over to my partner, I just wanted to feed you.
Questions to ask you.
Can I feed the lineup, or you want me to wait?
No. Let me ask you the questions, and then we can get to the lineup.
All right, go ahead.
We can do the lineup late.
We'll do it last. That's fine.
The question or the statement you made about David Peterson.
Yeah,
I had a question about that since day one.
Okay.
In my mind, I felt as if that rotation spot should have went to Jonathan. Right. That's what I felt in the very beginning. Now, if Jonathan had came up and got rocked, right, would it be the same impact on his team as if David Peterson was getting rocked? Like, would I have been correct if this was Jonathan in that spot and Jonathan got rocked like that and got those lumps out of the way, as opposed to a veteran like David Peterson who came up and potentially would have given you the same thing that Jonathan may have given you?
I mean, well, I'm going to answer that. Yeah, I think it would be different because we're looking at, you could take that because of Benj. You look at Benj. I think Benj is been overplayed in the amount of time he's had. If Tong comes up and he gets rocked, see what happened to Tong is completely different than what happened to any other pitcher. Tong came up and he was supposed to be that Tim Lincecum, that third guy. If we're gonna use the 15 team, the Matt Harvey, if whatever, and he went through a thing where we scored 10 runs and he had to wait 40 minutes before he could pitch again. I think he's hurt. I think that hurt his general flow. But I'm not quite sure that Jonathan, like, I'm going to say this. Scott came up and his first game, after you got so excited about him and hyped and so hyped and told me all the, this guy is going to be the guy and the whole thing, and he flip-flopped and he flopped right on his face, and I was waiting for it. Yesterday he goes 5 innings, he does give up a dinger, but he throws 8 strikeouts and he looks like a hitting 97 and throwing the ball. I think that's completely different. I mean, why bring Scott up over Tong if Tong was ready? I don't think Tong's ready. That's my honest answer. I do not think Tong is ready, because if he was, would he not be up here for Peterson already, who has displayed the fact that he cannot do it? And by the way, I disagreed with the lefty thing, so to answer Kevin, right from Jump Street.
Right.
But it was a good point that my brother made about having a right, left, right.
Right.
which I agreed with, and I'm going to stand by it because I agreed with it.
Right.
You know, but yes, he should not have been second in the order.
Right.
However, he was, and that doesn't really matter at this point anymore.
Right. Because it's water under the bridge. At the same time, it's one of those things that you can't rewrite history.
Right. We can't redo. Right. So it's over.
Yeah. And so one of the things I regret about how the beginning of the season was handled, and this is Jay's segment, everybody. I just had questions. One of the things that I have had questions about is David Peterson made the All-Star team last year, right?
Correct.
He was an All-Star last year, right? One of the things is I understand you have a guy who's a quality pitcher who's struggling with location and velocity, right? His velo is not one that is going to freeze major league bats. Right. But at the same time, if you're going to get into a hole at the beginning of the season, you at least want to know why you're in a hole. Right now we're in a hole and we have more questions than answers. Right. If Tong was in that spot, we could chalk it up to inexperienced pitching.
Right, but he's not, and we have to chalk it up to a man who, I mean, look, I'm going to say this over and over and over again. What happened last year? You just said it yourself. Peterson did what?
Peterson was
he made the All-Star game, right?
Right, that's the thing. Yeah.
But what happened second half?
He faded.
He faded away.
Right, but this year, it looks like an extension of last year.
I don't think that he recovered from last year's fading.
Right, Sean Manaea also.
I think Sean Manaea, I think what we saw Sean Manaea in 24, and then the injury, right? There was like he had a, and I get that, Kev. Listen, but DeGrom wasn't touching Harvey for months before he became who he was.
Right.
It just happens that way. And I'm just throwing names to the fire, not comparisons, my brother.
Right. But that's the reason. See how you mentioned DeGrom had to take his months and go through it, the league, and find himself?
He did.
DeGrom was super talented. Jonah Tong is super talented. Right?
Yeah.
I think at some point we're going to see Jonah Tong, just like Christian Scott had his start, and he got rocked a little bit, and then he came back.
That first game, yeah,
and he came back at his next start, and he looked different.
He definitely looked different.
At some point, we're going to have to take the bubble wrap off of these young guys and let them play. Like, I'm not down on Benj as much because I think his defense keeps him in the lineup. His defense and his base running, like, he does everything great except hitting the baseball. And so you keep Benj because he makes your outfield defense better. He makes base running better, right? And you hope that his bat will catch up. The one thing I'll tell Benj is that, hey, man, you're doing good. Just keep at it, keep grinding, and your bat will come around. The thing I can't tell David Peterson is keep grinding, and things will come around.
Right. Yeah, no, that's two completely different. We're talking about a guy who's been pitching for a while and a guy who's up here. You know, they all go through the bright light syndrome. You know what I'm saying? And Peterson passed that point already. Now he's going through last year syndrome, what's between his ear syndrome. You know, not having the same. I was watching the other day. He took 2 steps back, and when that didn't work, he took 1 step forward. And when that didn't work, he opened his stance a little bit. And I'm like, this guy is trying new things on the fly during a game.
Right.
And I was a little bit taken back by that. I can't lie to you. But you know,
give me your honest baseball take. Is David Peterson a quality Major League Baseball starter?
David Peterson quality. He has some of those qualities. I wouldn't say he's a quality. He is a better choice than Sean Manaea for the 5th spot on our team. But there are days where I'm like, bro, start Tobias Myers and then bring in the lefty, my guy. My brain is out of sorts right now.
Manaea?
No, Manaea hasn't done. Listen, Joe Manaea hasn't done a horrifying job as a long reliever. He's had like 1 or 2 times where he was rocked, but he definitely has had a couple good
outings,
like 3-4 innings of decent baseball pitching. You know what I mean? I think that's where you see him until he's gone. You know, if he's never going to come back into the starting rotation again. As far as to answer your question in full, I think Peterson is built different than him, slender, younger, stronger at this point. He had it in him. All right. Here's the real deal. Peterson went to the All-Star game because he earned it. He earned it.
Yeah.
When Manaea was our number 1 pitcher in 24, he was pitching way above his ability.
Yeah.
He just found a second wind. Like, boxing, we talk about boxing all the time. It's the 9th round. I've been punched in the belly about 412 times already. I've been punched in my neck. I've been elbowed. The guy might have spit on me.
My arms are tired.
Right. My arms are like pulling up. And I get a clean jab, then a second left jab, and a right cross. Boom, boom, boom. They all connect. It brings my wind back up because now I'm hyped. He needs a hyped game like that.
Right.
Where he pitches 6-7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and you might see that trickle effect. But if you don't see it, I'm going to say this. Ask me that in a month. Ask me that in a month because I think his time is ticking. At this point, I believe that he's a trade piece tag along. But how much people can we trade? Because Senga can't pitch, and
how long is Senga out? He's out months, right?
I think a while. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a while. I have to look that up really quick, but I think it's gonna be a while. But right now, our pitchers are Peralta. Our
Yes.
pitchers are McLean.
Yeah.
Our pitchers are
Clayton Holmes.
Clay. Holmes is pitching amazing. I like the way he's pitching. You got to give him a lot of props. Coming out of the bullpen for years and years and years, and the way he pitched the last 2 years, a lot of props. But right now, those are our 3 trustees. Tell me somebody else starting that you trust.
Nobody.
Me neither. Nobody. So, and mind you, we have a decent bullpen. Finally, we get rid of Lovely Lady, and we don't have to look at that mess anymore. And he just pitched against us actually yesterday or something like that. So I'm glad that he's gone. But the guys that we have, like AJ Minter, we've never seen him pitch. We've never seen him pitch.
Right.
It's the other Mets, like Brazaban, holding us down. Williams doing a great job. My guy who barked on the thing the other night, Weaver, had 1 bad outing. The rest, I think he's pitching great.
Yeah, yeah.
He's very solid. And then my guy, the lefty, my God, somebody posted in the thing with the A.
I'll find it.
All right. Either way, I don't even think that that's really the full.
Brooks Raley?
Brooks Raley. Yep, Raley. Brooks Raley is doing one hell of a job. One hell of a job. And then you got, like I said, Tobias Myers, who I think is, a guy who goes 2-3 innings. And not for nothing, to respond again to, I believe it was Kevin. And if we haven't met before, Kevin, nice to meet you. You remind me of somebody I know. A lot of pitchers, even the great ones, aren't pitching 7 innings.
Yeah,
they're pitching just 7 innings. It's just what they look. We have a guy, we have a kid who we don't want to hurt his arm, and he's pitching like a beast. And he goes out there and he shuts people down, and then you could bring in a Brooks Raley for an inning. And because if I wasn't using the machine I'm using right now, I could tell you right now that after Scott pitched, he gave up 3 hits, 3 runs. 2 of them were unearned. 2 of them were unearned, I believe. That was off a home run and 8 strikeouts. All right. After that, Brazaban, Weaver, Williams, who closed it out, and I believe Raley, all came in, and Raley and Weaver had 2 strikeouts each, or Weaver and Williams had 2 strikeouts each, and none of them gave up a hit. None of them. So we're solid in those departments. It's the bats that are ice cold. And even to see, Christian Scott to come up, and even if he did give up a home run, we're talking about a guy who did not pitch for a long time, who had a major injury, who had a horrible first start, come in, give up a home run, and then still whip 8 people. I salute him. Salute Christian Scott. 5 innings. I'm good with that. But, you know, by the way, happy birthday to Luis Torrens, who was, and I am so happy about this. I can't tell you how happy I am about this. He was extended 2 years, $30 million today. So that guy will throw you out with his eyes closed and arm tied behind his back, using his nose to throw it. He's a beast. He's a beast. He's a good backup. And if this other guy doesn't start hitting, you're going to see a lot of them. Not that he's more of a defensive guy, and not that I want him to be there. But Soto's been hitting. Bo hitting. We need much more. Polanco's out. Vientos can't hit. My favorite Met right now, and I've been saying it for a long time, MJ Melendez has been the workhorse of our lineup. MJ Melendez. He's going, look, MJ, I'm going to tell you right now, he is going, what's up? Peace to you, Kevin. What's up? What's going on? Stony 814, peace to you. Chef Nick, peace to you. Okay, Yankees fan and Met fan. I appreciate it. Thank you. Peace to you. Let's go Mets, though. But peace to you, and thanks for being here. Joe, as always, nice seeing you. And the rest of you, nice seeing you. And from the other places you're watching from right now, we thank you for being here to watch. Armand as well. Nice seeing you. But I can't keep saying nice thing to everybody. It's nice seeing everybody. And so here's the deal, man. Our bats are frozen. Like they're really absolutely frozen. And there's something that I cannot stand. A different lineup every single day is not the way that you manage. I don't care. You can't keep doing that. Bichette hitting first makes absolute no sense to me in my brain whatsoever. All right? But they're like, who do we have? Who could we hit first? We're not going to hit Soto first. That makes no sense. Lindor's not here. Like, I really think there's a lot of problems, but most of it is dealing with the coach. Yes, of course, the coach is not hitting. Yes, of course, the coach is not, whatchamacallit? He's not hitting, and he's not throwing, and he's not pitching. But he is making weird, bad moves. Like the other day, he took out MJ Melendez for, I believe, Vientos or somebody. No, it was somebody else. Somebody who hardly plays and hardly hits. Oh, the Slater kid. Why is he out? Why is he even there? And MJ Melendez, and he struck out. MJ Melendez would at least bunt the guy from second to third base. Right now, if your bats are cold, do something different. Play small ball. Drag bunt. Fake like you're going to bunt. Slash hit. They did it to us yesterday. They reached out. Bing. A little one over the shortstop. We got to do things like that. It's time to change up our routines. I don't even understand tonight's lineup at all. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for my partner on that one. But you know, we're like a half hour away from game, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I feel very, very good about tonight's game. Even though I'm sick and tired of Mendy meddling with our men. Say that 5 times fast, everybody, right now, real quick. Okay, good. Kevin, you messed it up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, everything's Kevin's fault.
So a couple of things that you mentioned, I stepped away for just a second just to
You're good.
do some old man stuff, right? But
yep, I'm here.
One of the things I will say, everybody, one thing I will say to the chat is this. Not saying that I know everything about sports, right? Because there are some things that we're not privy to. All we see is things that happen on the field and what we hear in interviews, right? What I will say is this about what Jay said, because I think he's right. But it's one of the things we mentioned when we first started doing the New York Mets Lounge. I personally believe that this coaching staff is too young, right? That's my belief. We don't know who the pitching coach is. We just know he's a young prodigy from Boston, right? Right? He was the best pitching coach that money could buy, but he's young, right? And our hitting instructor, our batting instructor, is young for Major League Baseball. While he might not be young in age, he's young in Major League Baseball years, right? One of the things that I think hurts us is that we depend so much on analytics and not enough on baseball knowledge.
Say that again, please, for those in the back.
Right. It's the reason why when Jay said, why did they take out Melendez and bring in someone else? It's because the analytics say against a certain pitcher in a certain environment, play this guy. And so that dictated that move, right? At some point, though, we have to go with what's upstairs and not what's on the computer.
Right.
Right.
Yep. 100%.
While I do value these major league players, and I think the roster is at worst a 500 roster at worst when everyone's healthy. Right. At best, we could be the best team in baseball. Right. But at worst, we're 500. Right. But when you have injuries and guys underperform, it puts you in that spot of, now when Alvarez comes up to the bat, you depend on Alvarez. When Vientos comes to the plate, you're depending on Vientos. You're depending on Beatty. And while I think they're talented, I don't think they're dependable. Right? If that makes sense. I'm not saying that they're bad players. I'm saying in those moments where runners are on first and third and one out, I would love to see a Freddie Freeman type batter at the plate. Right? We don't have a Freddie Freeman. We have MJ Melendez.
Right.
You feel
doing
me?
a fine job.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's also
but he's not Freddie Freeman.
yeah, he's not bad. He's not Freddie Freeman.
No, I agree.
Right. And so a few of the things you mentioned, I think, are based on the questions that we have about this team and not about the roster, right? Like, if I ask you who the most seasoned coach we have, like what coach on that coaching staff right now can you say, oh, I remember when he used to play left field for such and such?
I only know one, and you won't believe it who it is. The bullpen coach.
Right.
And I can't even tell you his name, but he pitched 4 years for the Royals, made the All-Star game one time.
Right.
And now he's a Christian dude who goes around and speaks to people about changing their life. Only one. And he's a bullpen coach. All he does is pick up the phone.
Yeah,
Williams, get ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he hangs up.
And he hangs up. Yep.
That's it.
And so, and even in our lineup, do we have a guy that is a 10-year vet that's dependable in situations and you can depend on in clutch situations? I don't think we have that guy. Right?
Maybe.
Ideally, it would be Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
But not this time of year, because even though he's out injured right now, he always starts the season slow. And the part of the season that we expect him to be red hot, he's out. He's out.
Which essentially means he's going to be starting again, almost like it's April when he gets back.
When he gets back in August. Right? Right? Now, here's the thing. When he gets back in August, that'll be an awesome addition. But the Mets be 20 games out in August, bro.
Yep, they sure could.
What I would say to you, bro, is Marcus Semien, for the most part, is about what I expected. Very solid defensively, leader in the clubhouse, things of that sort. But Marcus Semien is not dynamic. He's steady.
Nope.
We're giving Beatty these chances because we feel like someday he can be dynamic. But as of today, he's not. Right? The same
when
thing.
They hope that he was the guy that hit the 49 home runs. But he's not.
But he's not.
Sorry.
And so in a weird, twisted way, the lineup has shaken out to be what we wanted anyway. We wanted Bichette off of third. He's off of third. Right? We wanted Beatty to get some reps at third. He's getting some reps at third.
That's correct.
We wanted Vientos to get some reps at first so that Bat can be in the lineup every day where he can be dependable and get into a groove. But nothing's happened yet. Now, mind you, we're only Lindor has missed 7 games?
I think even less. We'll give it about a week. But yeah.
Yeah.
About a week's worth of baseball.
A week's worth of baseball, right. Yep. So we're in this spot where I think the Mets can turn this thing around. But right now, that's a hope. That's not a plan.
Correct.
Right. So it puts us in this weird space of what do you do until the Mets figure this thing out? How many more chances does Mendoza get? Right. And then if you fire Mendoza and you bring someone in, they'll probably look to elevate someone in-house. Right. But who do you bring? Who do you make the manager that's already in-house?
Right. That you don't know.
Yeah, there is no Mark Teixeira that we can promote to manager. Right. There is no no dang, right in the heart, bro. Really, right in the heart, bro.
Right in the heart. I just wanted to be there. I'm just sorry.
At least it's Jay. At least it's
Yeah.
Jay hit me in the heart and not a stranger, right? If it was a stranger, it'd have been weird, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh God.
But to the point that we're making, if not Mendoza, then who? There is no guy that knows these players that can come in right away and get this organization in tip top shape. Because it's not a Cohen issue.
No way.
And for the most part, though I hate saying this out loud, I don't even think it's a Stearns issue. Right? It's a too many moving pieces, no real organization, hierarchy, so to speak. None of that. Because the thing is even if Buck was here, Buck would be the leader of the franchise. And right now, the leader of the franchise is our owner.
I think Buck would have retired.
Yeah,
With all the injuries and things. No. He was a stand-up man. I take that back. But he would have been really pissed off. And we would know the names of the. Sorry to interrupt you, by the way. We would know the names of the other people because Buck would not have had no-name people surrounding him.
Yeah, Buck would have told you straight up, no, this guy's not ready.
Nope.
No, this guy is not a major league player.
Right. Exactly.
And so we're in this spot like, if you fire Mendoza, now you create more uncertainty on top of all the uncertainty that you already have. Right? Then you have the lineup dynamics of you have guys that can hit, but they don't all hit at the same time. One guy gets hot, everybody else is cold. Right? And so we're in a situation where the only real resolution is a major trade.
Or two.
Right. So even if you do a major trade, what area are you looking to improve? Is it first base? Is it third base?
Probably not. You have enough third basemen, but first base is definitely one.
Right. So the thing is, to me, ultimately, like I disagree with you on that because I on third base, I don't think we have we don't have a Scott Rowland at third where you get dependable defense, a guy made by that 250, 255, but has some thump in his back. We don't have that guy. Right. We have prospects over there, like we have Beatty, we have Bichette sometimes. We don't have that guy at third that's gonna anchor the infield. Like there is no you remember Terry Pendleton?
We've done this. Yes, of course. I remember Terry. We don't have Terry.
Right.
And we don't have Riley or I don't want to say any of the Braves third basemen's names. I don't want to say any of those things, but I totally agree with you on that. We don't have David Wright. We don't have a lot of things. I fully agree with you on that. I do think Beatty playing there for a good amount of time and staying there, knowing that it's his third base, would help him. And after he hit, what was it, 17, 18 last year, I think that you might see a steady guy, but it's not anchoring. It's not your fourth hitter, if that's what you're trying to get at. Like, it's not that guy. Or it's not even the guy who's your, like you said, the go-to guy, the guy who's hitting 300, which is what Bichette is, but he's not a third baseman. So
getting used to
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, but he's getting used to a new city we know at the end of the year, Bichette is going to put up. At the end of the year, Bichette is going to put up Bichette numbers.
Right, and you know where he's going to play?
Shortstop.
DA. DA.
Yeah,
DA. But where Lindor going to play?
Well, I'm talking about until Lindor gets back.
Oh, until Lindor, of course, definitely, no, 100%. Yeah.
Right. So it
definitely.
may be a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, you know, we've been waiting on this blessing for a minute, bro.
Yeah, that whole line of kids.
Yeah,
I think they all could go in my eyes.
Yeah.
Really quickly, the problem started because Vientos and Lindor carried us in 24 all the way to the last day.
Yeah.
When Lindor hits the home run and the Braves, and we get in, then we go on a run, and we're 2 games away from the World Series. And then the next year, Vientos is penciled in where? The fifth hole.
Yeah.
And third base, the 5th hole, to be our Alonso protector and to be a masher. And since they have toyed around, I think one of the worst and best moves we made this year was Bichette. I'm going to tell you why. Vientos, if you didn't get rid of him because he didn't do what he didn't replicate that year last year.
Yeah.
You went out and got Bichette, and then you had no place for Vientos to go, so he was on the bench. And Beatty was at second, right field, shortstop. I think I saw him selling popcorn.
Yeah.
He was doing everything.
He had the parking vest on.
He gave me a discount. It was 48.
Yeah.
So, right, take your ticket. He's scalping tickets first before the game. So, I mean, I think that's one of the major issues. Benj, I think, has stayed up here because if your outfield is Robert, MJ Melendez, and Soto, I got no problem with that. But then if it's Robert, Taylor, Soto, on those days, you're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
And Simeon, whether he gives you great defense or not, is not hitting. So I'd rather see Beatty there.
Right.
Because at least he's going to put the bat on the ball.
Right.
So look,
let me say this just real quick for Vientos.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
So Vientos' thing is, for some odd, peculiar reason, he can't hit in Citi Field. Right? Mark Vientos, his batting average on the road. This is gonna make me laugh. This makes me laugh every time I think about it. Mark Vientos' batting average on the road is 306 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. His on-base percentage away from Citi Field is 342. Right?
That's because he's not getting booed on the road.
So you see how things get weird, man. Like with like the lineups and such. It's like, like Brett Beatty on the other hand, can't hit away from Citi Field. Brett Beatty on the road is batting 143.
How about home?
I don't know the home split.
But I'm sure it's somewhere around like
400,
270, 275, 250,
like 370 something at home.
Yeah, because he's a horse here.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not. He's batting 246 at home.
Yeah, I figured about 250.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, I've been told. But the thing is that whole line of people, Mauricio, Vientos, Beatty, I think it's starting to become that Isringhauser, Wilson, Paulson, you know what I mean? Like it's starting to become like, how long are you going to give people a chance that are not producing? A guy had a great year his first year. He had a crappy year the second year. He's having a crappy year the third year. It's either like send him down and call up Reimer right now and call up Ewing right now and make a major trade with a couple of those guys.
Right.
Go out, trade them all to Oakland for Nick Kurtz and their pitcher, or you could trade them to Chicago for Murakami, who's got 14 home runs and
probably
already
and 99 strikeouts. Like
right, 199. And they have a pitcher over there, Smith, that's amazing. 4-1 with a 1.58 ERA.
Let me take. I got another thing I want to share with you just real quick, right?
Yeah, so the game is gonna start in a minute.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah. Just so the game's about to start in like a minute, like what he said. I want to just throw my point out there real quick, everybody. And I'm sorry about us getting long-winded. If you expect,
we only know how to do that.
Yeah. I was gonna say if you expected a show where we were gonna leave out details and didn't get in depth, this is the wrong channel for y'all because we love the details, right? But here's the thing: Marcus Semien at home, right? At home is batting 149, right? On the road, Marcus Semien is batting 319, right? So what that tells me, everybody, before we get out of here, just real quick, the Mets have put undue pressure on themselves, and the pressure is bursting pipes. Basically, is how I feel about it, right? And the point that I was going to make, man, before, I'm sorry, y'all, we'll probably have to reconvene after the game at some point, maybe tomorrow, whenever we get the opportunity. The Mets.
Oh, we're going to do way more of these.
Yeah, the Mets.
Did you want to finish that thought, though? Then I'm going to do the lineup, and then we're going to.
Then we'll get out of here. Yeah. The Mets can't start games slow, right? Basically, what it feels like is the Mets are in a Pete Alonso residual mindset of, we can get down a few runs because, Pete will come up and hit a 3-run homer. We'll be right back in the game. That can't be our mindset. Our mindset has to be going forward that every pitch matters. Every pitch matters, right? Like we have to be the aggressor. We have to take the fight to other teams. We can't be defensive fighters, counter punchers. The Mets have to be aggressive out the gate. I think that's the point. We're pressure is bursting pipes. There's too much pressure, and we're waiting for the big moment to be the amazings, right? When we should just focus on being the Mets. Being amazing is fantastic for moments, viral moments, grand slams and situations and late inning heroics and all that. That's amazing. But I think we need to start attacking teams, being aggressive up front
and being consistent.
Jay, you got it, bro. We can talk about
this. I got. All right. Listen, I'm gonna just real quick say that I'm frustrated because our pitchers are bringing us 1 run, 2 runs for 7 innings, 6 innings, and then we have our middle relievers doing a great job. I believe our bats are killing us, and our manager is killing us. He is a guy who's never managed before, came over here from the Yankees. I'm not saying that's the reason, but I'm just saying we need somebody who's professional to put them together. Thank you, Mendy, for what you did, but you barely got us into the playoffs in 24. We missed it last year, and we stink right now. You got to go. That's my final answer on that. Tonight's lineup, by the way, goes as follows. Bichette hitting number 1. Who knows why? Soto hitting 2. Alvarez in the 3rd hole with Vientos batting 4th. Then we have Marcus Semien in the 5th hole tonight, guys. Hold on tight. And now we have Ibanez, our new guy, our new hot guy, Ibanez.
Yeah,
Ibanez, pardon me. Ibanez is the Italian way that, from Brooklyn. Taylor hitting 7, Slater hitting 8th, and Mauricio hitting 9th for your AAA New York Mets lineup. I'm sorry, I meant your regular New York Mets lineup. That is your lineup tonight.
Your aces pitching.
With your aces pitching, you don't bring in MJ Melendez, who's been on fire. You don't bring in anybody else. I think this is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Hey man,
I have faith.
I'm jump back on tonight, bro. After this.
All right.
I gotta jump back on after this.
Hey, Mets fans, we love you.
Hey, thank y'all for coming through, watching the New York Mets Lounge.
Subscribe.
You know who that is?
Press like.
That's social media celebrity. Jay the Chosen One. I'm the guy, the sidekick. Uncle Freezy, number 1 Chief Rocker. I'm joking about that part, everybody. We'll see y'all later. Enjoy the game. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.